to order at 7:04. And as is our custom, we will stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as I glance over there and see the picture of Bob Kelly, I feel like we're being watched over with a lot of kindness. He was a wonderful man who was active and involved in the library for a long time. So before we begin our evening's business, I would like to make a motion to add a non-public session to our agenda. And that would be under RSA 91A32C. Thank you. All in favor? Okay, 500. Thank you. So we are happy to have a staff member here who is celebrating her 5th year anniversary. So thank you for joining us. And do you have the plaque right there?
Well, yes, I do.
Because I think Kathy would like to see her name on the plaque.
I sure would. Should I mask to come over to you? We're in the bubble.
That's cool.
There you are. This is our in recognition and appreciation of 5 years of service.
Yay. So Kathy Walter is our head of Children's Services. And we were just so impressed with all of the things that you did during COVID. So we want to thank you so much for keeping the services alive for the children of Merrimack while we were having reduced hours and doing all of those sort of things. So in addition to just what you do regularly, really thank you for what you did during that time. So, yay. Yes. We really appreciate it.
I can take it back and hang it up.
And now when you walk up and down the stairs, you will see your name on there. And we really do appreciate all that you do for the library and the community. So thank you very much.
It has been my genuine pleasure.
Great. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Thank you for your time.
Yes,
and
thank you so
everything.
much, Kathy. We really appreciate it.
Very
Yeah.
Wonderful asset.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, wonderful. It's always nice to start off on a positive note, so that was great. Thank you. We're going to go to old business, and we'll start with September's action items. So let me open up those minutes. Karen was really busy. She sent us a lot of minutes and with corrections and all sorts of things, so thank you.
Well, most of them were approved minutes.
Yep. Yes, we only have one to approve for tonight when we get to it. Mhm.
We were all caught up.
So I'm sorry, just waiting for this to open for me. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for the Wi-Fi so that I can open my minutes. Does somebody have the September action items in front of them? I'm trying to do things electronically and not print everything out, but this is taking a little bit of time.
Let's see.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so I spoke too soon. September action items. We are going to discuss the snack corner. We will be doing that tonight. Discuss SWAT and dates with SMP. SMP is on our agenda. Arrange the budget meeting dates. We can do that. And find the previous discussion of print pricing, which Janet, you did that. Do you want to speak to that?
Back in September of last year, we had a meeting talking about the Princh and going forward with raising a cost with respect to just Princh. And I don't know, we found it, or I found it and notified you, and then you notified Yvette.
So the changes have been made.
Yes.
So that's been taken care of. Okay.
The changes have been made and I was not at that meeting.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's true. So that very well could have come on my end that I did not communicate that clearly with you. So, but now we are all set. The changes have been made and everything is good. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Janet, and thank you for cleaning that up for us, Yvette. Okay,
Great. So SMP is the next item under old business. And I did meet with Yvette and talk about what our next steps should be. And really, this board needs to decide if we are going to choose a site that we'd like to pursue in greater detail. Once we choose a site, I would let the Friends of the Library and our development fund know about our decision at upcoming meetings, and then arrange to talk with Paul and other people at Town Hall to see how what we would like to do would fit into the bigger plan of what's going to be happening in Merrimack going forward. So, do we want to have any discussion about our feelings? I mean, I think that the overall general gist was that people really liked the idea of the MYA site as a possible location. Yes? No?
Yeah.
So he knew that was it. So,
Yeah,
yes,
that
okay.
is a likable
So-
location.
and I think that when I was thinking about how to make a motion about this, I thought that perhaps it was more that of the sites discussed, the one we would like to pursue further investigation on would be the MYA site, right? Because there's a lot that would have to go into it before we would move forward with that. But I would want you to vote on that. So I will make a motion to pursue further investigation of the MYA site for a possible future library.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
Say that one more time.
Sure.
Pursue further
Investigation of the MYA site. Yep, for a possible future library location. Because I think that's all we can really do right now, right? Is let our stakeholders know what the process we went through and what we were interested in pursuing, and then gather more information from the town about what our next steps would be.
And we already know that that is a site that's available to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
there's
just wanted
but-
that to be clear.
Yeah, and I also I think though there's a bigger plan for what's happening in the town, right? And we want to be working with the other entities in town to make sure that we are part of that vision. So, okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? 500. So for me, action items will be when the Friends meet again, which is going to be this upcoming Monday. I will let them know that this was the vote that we took. I'm also going to reach out to the chair of our development fund, development committee, sorry. Development fund committee? It's late. Is that correct? The development fund committee. It sounded odd at the time. And I will talk to Bill Cummings about that. Okay. Great. Copier is a placeholder. Strategic planning is what's next. So I need to coordinate with Janet regarding, I think you were the one that said you were interested in working on that document from Anne Warner, and then Yvette is going to determine which staff members she would also like to have meet with us, and a small group will meet. We will go over the document, hopefully within the next few weeks, and then we will coordinate something with Anne to facilitate a meeting with all of us to further develop that document with all of your input and determine what a strategic planning process would look like. Okay. So I will coordinate some dates with you, Janet,
Okay.
and we'll get to Yvette on that. Okay. So let's see. That's our old business. Is there anything that was missing from old business? Okay. New business. Policy review. Yvette, this is you, huh? Patron behavior policy?
Yes. So we've updated this. I don't know if you have questions specifically about it. I have mine. I don't know if you have any questions about this. This is updated.
We're talking about the patron behavior policy.
Yes, it was, generally I reformatted it. It was a little bit dense, so all the pieces in red, I tried to group, so it wasn't.
Lit up, sorry.
It's on.
It is?
The light is on.
Sorry, let me just, it's not picking up. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
You want to grab the other one?
Yeah, let's just swap them out, sorry. That's a weird thing.
I'll just leave.
You can be in
Very-
stereo.
Very special. Sibilance. How's this? Is this better? So, this is the patron behavior policy. It used to be called the patron behavior policy. For a time, it was called the rules and regulations policy, but really, we still talk about it as the patron behavior policy, and I think that's clearer as a name. So, it's the patron behaviors. And really, just it's generally how we expect patrons to behave when they're in the library or elsewhere at a library program. One thing that we kind of are suggesting we update is to allow food and covered beverages to be consumed anywhere in the building. This is on the second page under general policies, because before COVID, we were allowing food and beverages at the cafe area, which was the tiled area. And now the circulation desk has moved back to its original location, so now that cafe area on the tile doesn't exist anymore. And it was easy to say to patrons, oh, yes, you can have that in the library, but please eat on the tile. And now it's like we expect our patrons to be responsible and have covered drinks. I think covered drinks are pretty standard in buildings. I think we also don't want to disrupt someone's visit if they feel like, especially let's say they're studying or working on something for a long time and want to have a snack, to allow it. It just seems to add to the patron experience and make it a more welcoming space. So, I think not designating a particular space in the policy gives us the freedom to say, yes, no, you can eat here, there, whatever, or if we're having an event, then we can just allow it without being restricted to the tile, I think.
That's great. Does anybody have any comments or concerns with that?
So the food, it says food and covered beverages, food. Can you
Yeah,
hear?
just a little louder, because
Okay,
I
so,
just actually couldn't hear you.
so the food over here, does it, like, food is a very broad term?
Yes, it
there-
is.
Yeah, so.
I think we'll deal with that if someone
Yeah.
comes in with a pizza.
Mhm.
They might
So-
have a good reason for coming in with a pizza.
Mhm.
We've had people come in with, burgers, fast food, and
Mhm.
eat at the cafe tables, and that was totally fine. It wasn't bothering anyone.
Mhm.
So,
But if it's on those corner study tables or something like that, or, you're saying not near the computer tables, but in other areas.
I
So-
think our patrons can be responsible. And if there's a question, we'll see, if you're bringing out a turkey dinner, I don't know. That's a little
That's-
complicated. Michael.
I think food is fine, but what if it's like really smelly food,
I think,
like durian or
sure.
something?
And I think any of the behaviors that are disruptive to people using the library, that's when the staff would come in and address that person privately.
Okay, so that would be covered under disturbing others.
Yes, because disturbing others is very subjective.
Right.
If you're chewing gum in the library and someone is disturbed by chewing noises, I mean, that's not food. It's just chewing or swallowing, or, there's lots of reasons why one patron might be disturbed by. There are a lot of things, that's why we have your odor, your body odor, or if your clothes are dirty and the odor is disturbing someone and they can't block it out, then we'll go up to someone, and we have. So I think odor, perfume, cologne, there's these kind of things kind of fall under sensory experiences, so,
All right.
yeah.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve the patron behavior policy as modified.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you, Karen. Thank you, everyone. Yvette, I'd just like to say that, like the dress code policy, I feel like you put a lot of detail into this, but it gives a lot of specific examples and really, I'm sorry. Thank you. You put a lot of detail into this, and it gives a lot of specific examples and seems to cover a wide variety of things to allow your staff to have use their judgment, but also to have the opportunity to speak to people if they need to. So thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda, September general ledger. Are there any questions about the general ledger? Okay, what about the September invoice manifest or open POs? Very
I actually
quiet.
did have a question
Okay,
on that one. So it's on it's on the second page. Second one down, the Staples Business Advantage. It says, keeping open for future purchases, but then, and that's for fiscal year 2021. And then the third from the bottom is also Staple Business Advantage, and that's this year, and that's open. I didn't understand the rationale to keep that other one open when the fiscal year is closed and it's been delivered and there's already another one.
I'm sorry, what are you looking at?
The open POs.
I have one Staples on my open POs. Oh, I see. Okay. This one is probably almost paid, the one that's $700.
Okay.
I mean, if you ask me a question here and I don't have the binder, I really can't answer you in detail.
Okay.
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 All right, so any other questions? Okay. Let's see, fine-free update. So Yvette sent us a lot of information, including what other libraries in the area are doing. And as you know, we are sort of piloting this through December. Has your staff said anything about the fine-free?
Yes.
Okay.
So I know, I just want to say, so it's in the public record, that Janet has been emailing me a lot and copying Deb on some of these things with questions and concerns and running reports, and I really don't know what you've seen. But I did bring it up with my department heads, and to see where, okay. I forwarded every email, Janet, from you to them so they would get your words exactly, and I wouldn't confuse them. But I had, she had asked for a list of things in a chart, and I forwarded that to the GMILK staff, and Sarah St. Martin, who is one of our GMILK staff, ran a report, and then Janet found some discrepancies between the report run in Polaris about payments made versus what was reported deposited in your accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the question that we have. The department heads, I really have to give them a lot of credit because, reference librarians, they love a good question. And they are running with this. They are really running with this and digging in, and it's interesting. So what we have so far, I don't have an updated chart, just to put that out there. What we have so far is Max and Casey and Angela have been working with the CERC staff because just procedurally, the reference staff are the ones who count down the drawer. And right now they count the drawer down in the beginning of the day before we open. It just is better for timing rather than hanging around and double counting and at the end of the day. So our procedures, we have controls in place regarding the money. And so we were looking over what our controls are, namely things are in a locked drawer. Deposits get made so often. The drawer is counted down daily by 2 staff. And so no one is ever alone. You know, I mean, the point I'm making is no one is ever alone with the funds. So there's also a camera trained on the drawer. So there are lots of really good controls in place. And so we had to dig a little bit deeper to look at procedures. And, you know, I'll just say, I know you're very curious about this, Janet, as we are, but, you know, kind of calling and asking the staff on the desk isn't going to get you what you really need, because they don't count down the drawer. And they have no real authority about that. So what we found out was, what we think is, Max has identified a lot of this might be the replacement costs. And we had a situation come up today, which he brought to me and was explaining it. So I'll share that with you. We also know that when printing is done at the reference desk, there's the NV printer there, that's a color printer, and you know, patrons are handing cash over the desk. It's not going in the machine. You know, it just goes in the drawer, kind of loose. So we've had a lot of money that's appropriately going, you know, deposited to fines, but then not being, you know, kind of drilled down to, oh, this is actually, you know, this is actually this. So Max and Casey and Angela are working to figure out what's the best way to do it, because they're the ones counting the drawer, you know, and, you know, communicating with the circ staff about, okay, once you take the money and it gets in the drawer, fine, we're counting the drawer down, but it's just a bulk, and it has to be divided up in the drawer in a different way than it has not been happening. For example, to the replacements, we had a Merrimack patron come in today, had lost 2 items. One was for Nesmith, one was for Bedford. And so normally the transaction library, which is Merrimack, would receive the money. And if the owning library, Nesmith or Bedford or other GMLX libraries, also has a processing fee, which Goffstown does. You saw a check probably this week about Goffstown. They will keep the processing money, but the transaction library will keep the fine. And it will go in and out. You know, it'll come into us, but it'll go straight back out as a check to Nesmith, Bedford, and so on. When the account is cleared and the staff is at the desk clearing the account in Polaris, it shows up as paid to us. But ultimately, the money goes to another library, the owning library. So that's happening, and the money that we're receiving isn't being marked. This was cleared in Polaris, and we're not making that connection. So I have these 2 checks, and the patron made it out to the owning library when really it would pass through us, but the Polaris account shows that it was paid to us because we're the transaction library. So that's stuff we're going to look for. Casey is also running a report on Comprise for the past year to see how much money is running through Comprise, because we can do lots of things with Comprise. She's our interlibrary loan librarian, and so any kind of $3 fee to get the interlibrary loan, that's also running through Comprise, but it's not being put in QuickBooks as, you know, interlibrary loan / Comprise. It's just going in as interlibrary loan. So there's a lot of little accounting things that they've already identified, just you know, coming together and counting down the drawer and going, what all goes in this? You know, what all goes in the drawer? And it's, Max said, I've already have a list of 10 things, and we account for 2. So I said, beautiful. This is wonderful. So they don't have another report that's updated, but that's what they're working on. And I think the speed that they're working on it, I will probably have it tomorrow. But I keep telling them, don't kill yourself over this, please. Max is also gonna talk, he actually posted on our internal communications, how to change things like recording the replacements. And what he has discovered is every staff does it a little different. So we have some inconsistencies with, we're getting everything and it ends up getting deposited, but it's all those little, kind of assigning, it's this kind of money or this kind of money or this kind of money. Certainly we can do better and tighten it up so it's hopefully clear when it gets to your end. That's where we are. That's where we are.
It sounds
Not-
like
No,
they're,
that's
good.
yeah, and I love that they're sort of looking at this as like a problem to be solved, right? That we can figure this out.
We have a wonderful staff.
Yep.
That's all I can say. They are, because I don't work in Polaris.
Mhm.
It's delegated to,
Mhm.
it's just not in my wheelhouse as a director, ever. So, they're just all stepping up and finding out how to solve this problem and
Mhm.
really drilling down and,
Great.
saying, let me take this off your plate, Yvette. So, wonderful.
Well, it
They're
makes more sense
wonderful.
because they, in their transactions with patrons too, will be able to see, all right, here's something we need to address, right? And
Right.
it's going to improve efficiency and give a
Yep.
clearer picture about where money is going. So everybody's going to be
Yes,
doing it better.
yes. Max is creating procedures for the new department head who's not even here. We
Mhm.
don't even know who this person is yet. And he's like, I'm just creating procedures for them. And it's like, all good, good.
Great.
So
Excellent.
we're on it.
And I don't want anybody on the board to think that there was, no new information had come out, right? Certainly if Yvette had a new report for Janet or something like that based on, we would have shared that with everybody. But right, it just was a lot of questions in limbo right now. And Yvette just gave you an accounting of what they're doing to deal with it. So, great.
Yep.
Okay.
Any questions? Do you have any questions about this? You must have lots of questions.
Well, actually, I don't have the expertise to look at the accounting in depth. I'm just looking at how much effect the whole process of being fine-free will have on the library's budgets. But I'm glad that they're taking the opportunity to make it a more efficient, more accurate process. But I wasn't questioning the process initially when I was looking for the information. So I think it's great. We'll have two accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
Actually refining the process of the fine-free and the replacement costs process. And also, we will decide, have some data, some idea of what it would mean to the library's ability to spend money and buy more things or have less. So that's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
Well, I will just say that the New York Public Library is now fine-free, so.
Is
if-
it?
Yeah. So that's
What is it?
the New York Public Library is fine-free, which is like a new thing that they've done too. So, but they are still charging replacement fees. So that
Yeah.
is just like we have been talking about. Okay, so we will just keep collecting data. We don't have to make a decision about going permanently with this until December, but in the meantime, we're fine-free. So. And you can see that most of the libraries are also fine-free, the in
Yeah.
Gmail,
Yes.
so that is the
Yeah.
trend. That's where they're going, if you looked at that document.
Yeah.
So.
When I have something more like a report, once
Yep.
I think we've accounted for how things should have been maybe allocated or something, then send it
Sure.
or hold it till
Yeah,
next
no,
month.
just why don't you send it
Send
so
it.
people have a chance to take a look at it.
Okay.
Okay.
right.
Great. Thank you.
So then when I have more questions, you just add to it.
Well, and actually, my question about the staff wasn't necessarily about that, but like, the circulation staff, like, have they given you any feedback about, yeah, we really like that we're not charging people fines, or what has
Absolutely. Oh
been
my
staff,
gosh.
and what have been the patrons' reactions, like that sort of thing? I was just curious about.
Yes.
Okay.
It's kind of what we expected, where, you know, people feel they can come back to the library, you know, this aspect of shame that we kind of
Yep.
talked about isn't there anymore. So, yeah, so far we're seeing that, and it's like when we used to do fine amnesty that one
Mhm.
month. It was like, yay, come and save everything up for that one month, and it's
Mhm.
you know, it's like Christmas or
Yep.
you know, some other non-denominational holiday where you get presents. You know,
Yep. Awesome. Okay, great, thank you.
sure.
Okay, then we're moving on to the director's report.
Okay, so we have received funds from the TD Bank Affinity Program in the amount of $60. So I don't know, Janet, if you want to speak to this.
So several years ago, when we still belonged to TD Bank, they instituted a program that you, as a user of the bank, they, other patrons of the bank could identify if they wanted like a really, really small percentage to go
Mhm.
to a
Sure, it's like
charity
Amazon
non-
Smile.
Well, yeah, it's
Yes.
like yeah, Smile Amazon or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
And the Merrimack Public Library was one of those places, and we had a check from them back from, I think it was either 2017, 2018, that was still out there for us, and we had
Great.
they sent us a letter. I got the letter from the library and went, what is this? Contacted them, and they said, you have money. I went, okay, thank you very much. And went to the library.
Is there any way that we are expected in particular to spend that money?
No.
No restrictions?
Nope, it's gonna go to special. Nope.
Okay, great. I make a motion that we accept the $60 from the TD Bank Affinity Program.
I second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
I think I actually deposited that into fines, so you're gonna have to move it or,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Great. 500. Thank you to everyone who gave a little bit of their hard-earned money towards the library through that program. That's wonderful.
Okay, I also have the next donation. We've received a donation of an acoustic guitar from resident Michael Kennedy for inclusion in the Library of Things collection.
Great. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the acoustic guitar from Michael Kennedy for the Library of Things collection.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. I'm sure that will be very popular.
We've received a donation from Sheila Lipman, who is one of our staff, of a literary plaque that says, "Books are the quietest and most constant of friends. They are the most accessible and wisest of counselors and the most patient of teachers." We would like to accept it to hang up somewhere in the library, to be determined.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the plaque from Sheila Lipman.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, all in oh, did you want to say something?
Nope.
Oh, you're voting already? Okay, all in favor? 500, thank you. Thank you to Sheila, that's lovely.
The next one is connected to the snack nook we had been talking about in the teen room. So we received an offer to collaborate with the Merrimack Caring Cupboard, who will provide donated snacks for our teen room to be distributed at the discretion of the youth services staff. So this is more, accepting the offer to go into a partnership with them. And then the other details are in the other sheet of paper that I sent out with the packet.
Can
So
we
it's
look
kinda
at the
together.
manga 2 closet proposal version 2 and then come back?
Yeah.
Kind of look at this
Yeah,
all as
yeah,
one
yeah.
piece? Okay. So this was something else that I talked about with Yvette. The initial proposal I found a little overwhelming, and I was a little concerned about some of the things that I read in it. And as Yvette and I sort of talked about what they were actually looking to do, I started to think of it as more like ant flow, right? As we were providing those sanitary products, we are just providing them. It is not that we are setting up like a full-blown health clinic, right? We are providing snacks. We are not setting up a restaurant or a cafe. It doesn't sound like this new plan has anything like a microwave included in that, and that.
No.
Yeah, it's a little bit more bare bones and a little bit more in concert with what the Merrimack Caring Cupboard is doing in other places. I don't know if you guys know about this initiative, so yeah.
I do.
Does anybody need information on the Merrimack Caring Cupboard? Does that something? Okay. All right. So it looks like there's a couple of different parts of this proposal. One is the prepackaged snacks they would have while in the library. Resuming the patron access to water / fridge and Keurig, which is something we did before, which I know I took advantage of that, grabbing a water when I was in there and that sort of thing. We do have the water fountain also, so we have that. And then the third part would be the manga collection. So I don't know. So I know that the initial proposal was not met with a lot of favorable response. So and from me as well, I was like, what is this? But this one I find a lot more palatable, better able to understand. It doesn't seem like it's as much of a, I don't want to say a free-for-all, but it feels like it'll be much more organized and structured and in keeping with, we aren't necessarily we're not taking over providing food for people in a way that would take us away from what our initial mission is. It's more of offering it to teens when they're there. It's not necessarily even a draw in that way. It's just there if they need it. Is that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so what are people's thoughts on this? The new revised proposal, the version 2. What are your concerns, pros, cons?
Are you moving any electrical equipment,
No.
electrical stuff in?
No.
Okay. No, yeah. How would, so the snacks would be distributed by the youth services?
Yep.
Okay,
They would manage it.
okay.
And how about the water fridge and Keurig? Will it be outside like how it used to be?
Max has some ideas for where he's already thought with his staff that could go. There is an outlet that exists, all of the outlets, the electricity exists already, and is in view of the staff. The first location would be kind of near where the media is, the DVD shelving, at the archway going into teen, underneath the Kelly system. So underneath that television that runs the announcements, there's a nice little nook, little enough space, and it would tuck there. And then another location would be on the other side of the building by the windows. And when we bring back the soft seating to that area, then it would go there. That would also be a natural place to kind of have it there. So, right now it's behind the desk, and the Keurig is in storage, and it's like I like lists, and I like to cross things off lists, and it's like, when can I cross this off my list? And am I putting the fridge back out and providing access, or am I putting it on auction, or where is this fridge going? So.
All right, so what are your thoughts on the new revised plan?
I think this is just like the, well, first off, I like this format better.
Yeah, that was something I also mentioned to Yvette, is asking the staff to come up with one-page proposals that are just very clear, like, this is what we want to do, here's the rationale, here's the cost, here's how we'll measure success, that sort of thing, because I think it's a lot easier to sort of take in. And
I like the food going through the Laura's World Fund and Caring Cupboards. That's great. I like that there's no electricity involved. With the fridge in the Keurig, I think that's gonna be something just like you monitor with the food that we just talked about. If there ends up becoming an issue,
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
address it.
Yeah.
And then with the manga, it's like, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's,
So are people, does anybody have any concerns about this? Sohini, Mike, Karen?
This is much better. We don't have the microwave.
Yeah, for some reason that microwave, we just had vision. I think there was, yeah, it's something about what was going to happen with the microwave. This seems like, okay, this is a good step in that direction.
All right.
So, okay. So then I'm going to
So what about you, no toaster oven, no
no
crock
no air
pot,
fryer.
air fryer? Okay.
So I'm going to make a motion that we accept the manga closet proposal version 2.
I second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Wonderful. So now let's go back and look at the acceptance of gifts and discuss collaborating with the Merrimack Caring Cupboard, who will provide donated snacks for our teen room to be distributed at the discretion of the youth services staff, which is a wonderful and generous offer on their part. So is there any comments, questions, or concerns about that? Then I'm going to make a motion that we vote to accept the donated items from the Merrimack Caring Cupboard.
I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, wonderful. And thank you to them for offering to do that. That's wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you, Yvette.
All right. Personnel. I have received a letter of resignation from Brianna Beard. She's our part-time adult services library assistant. I don't have a date, but she will be moving out of Merrimack, and the driving distance is too far for her comfort. So her last day is in November, but we don't have a date. But she has stated her intention that she'll be moving on.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we accept Brianna Beard's resignation with regret.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. 500.
Okay. And then obviously when I have a date and she's
Mhm.
actually gone,
Sure.
I'll let you know.
But I do appreciate that she let you know that this was the intention so that you could plan things, right?
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She has a lot of experience in hospitality and customer service, and
Mm-hmm.
it's too bad
It'll
we're
be a
losing her.
loss.
Yeah. And then we've extended a conditional offer of employment to Michelle Pasidlik for the part-time youth services page 8 position. She's begun training with staff as we await her background check. I am still awaiting the background check. And the PAR is already been
Yep, I
signed.
signed the PAR because we
Mhm.
had come to that decision that I could do those, so we didn't have to wait for them. So, okay, great. So I will vote to accept the conditional offer of employment to Michelle. Please help me. I want to make sure I can pronounce this correctly.
Pasidlik.
Pasidlik, thank you. To the part-time youth services page 8 position.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Wonderful. Thank you, Yvette.
Sure. And I don't know if, I mean, I don't know if you have any other questions about the report or the list of maintenance and building projects, which I didn't recopy into the
Mhm.
written report. It's just, here's the attached things that are going on. So I don't know if you have questions about anything else.
Actually, I saw that you had joint loss was in.
Yes.
How did that go? What did you, new things, old things?
Well, I had added their things to our existing list, so that we could track it all in one list rather than 2 lists. That didn't make sense to me. So, I mean, some of the things are bigger projects. For example, I had also attached.
The chiller?
Yes, I had because we were talking about HVAC on the CIP and can we get a quote,
Mm-hmm.
but we had a vendor come in and do some repairs on it who said, wow, this is wrong. We had this other vendor come in and say, okay, really, talk and walk me through this thing, which is the proposal that I attached. And one of the things that Johnson Controls said that they could do was remove there's an old tank in the ceiling in mechanical, which Joint Loss always puts on their report, this should be removed. It's like, okay, it's not doing anything except being there, but it should be removed. So there's some things on Joint Loss that are like that we're trying to address in the space that we have, and older systems that, okay, well, like this tank. So I think just trying to have it on one list, like I just said, I like lists and I like crossing things off lists, will help with some of that. They mentioned the stairs on the DW side with the granite steps, and it's like, yes, I know. I'm waiting to hear back from this vendor again, and at some point we're gonna have to talk about, okay, let's pay this vendor to put the steps back so they're sealed for the snow, and then revisit in the spring and deal with this thing underneath. I mean, that's where I'm thinking now, because it's October. So
That might be sooner rather than later at this point. I mean,
would you like me to just call them and
yeah, well, how long have we been waiting for these other people? That's been a
Just for a
while.
while.
I mean, is there
Just for a
any,
while.
is there any, like rationale in calling them and saying one more time, are you going to make it here this fall? Just tell us one way or the other. Do you think they would let you know?
Well, my current emails go out with, that little urgent red exclamation point.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I can be very annoying, but I can step up my annoying.
Please, and if they're not going to be here, just let us know so we
Yeah.
can put that on. Like that's,
Yeah.
if you actually say, we can't do
Yeah.
it, we're going to have to come back another time, that's fine, but
Right.
let us know so we can move forward with this
Right.
other thing and don't
Yes.
have that there. So, I
Okay.
mean, I don't know, does anybody feel differently? I think we need to get that on. Like,
Is it my understanding that there's a concrete pad that's kind of attached to that upper step?
Well, that would be the landing when you step out of the building. That
The
concrete,
the
pad.
concrete pad,
yes.
and then the step is below the concrete pad, or
Yes.
oh,
I mean, right now, there's nothing there.
right,
It's a hole.
right.
But,
is. But there was no problem with the rotting that was.
it's not an extensive problem that we kind of thought it might be.
Yeah,
And the vendor said, well, let me get this proposal to you, and then you can, I said, no, I'd like it in writing, because then I can email it to you guys, and we can all read it together, rather than me hearing it and kind of,
mm-hmm.
and I don't have it. I'm still waiting on that piece. So,
the big thing now is to make sure that hole in the front
it's covered.
is covered so that it doesn't get
Yeah.
snowed on.
Well, yeah, it's getting rained on,
It's getting rained on.
Yep.
Okay.
so, and it's, really attractive.
I was gonna say, it's an
Yeah.
eyesore.
Yeah,
It
it's an
is,
eyesore,
I've
it's
had people say,
dangerous. I
like,
think,
what's going on there?
I think if they tell you we can't be, then just move forward. Like,
Okay.
we have to get that sealed up, right?
Yeah.
And they'll have to take it off again when they address the carry beam. That's gonna be what it
Yeah,
is, but
Yeah.
yeah, we can't risk
Yep.
that there's snow, and there could be snow, right?
I
We
know,
know,
I
we
know.
Yeah,
know that.
Halloween.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean,
so.
It's happened, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so if you would like take care of that, I think that
I will
just
take
needs
care
to
of
be
it.
done, and, yeah. Okay,
Okay, and
Great.
one of the things, about joint loss is, their suggestions.
Mhm.
So how do you want to receive a suggestion? I like to cross things off, so I say, okay, let's do it, let's just get it done. So these are all on Jared's to-do list,
great,
so.
okay. Any other questions for Yvette about the director's report?
One thing I should mention that I don't know if I wrote it in the report or if it just was on this list. We had hired another company to do an asbestos test in
Mhm.
certain areas of the Henderson room
Yeah.
because the carpet before the carpet can be replaced, that company was saying, well, we would require this. There are no problems with asbestos in the public areas, in the floor, under the carpet, Henderson, Lowell. The only place where there is asbestos is in tile in periodical storage, which we expected. It's floor tile, it's of the age where it would be, and we have no reason to move it, change it, touch it. It's just, it exists in the floor. So,
So that's good news that the
it-
public areas don't have any.
yes,
Yeah.
and we can move ahead with the carpet. So I'm
Nice.
actually meeting with the carpet vendor. I sent her that report so that she would have it. And I'm meeting with her tomorrow so she can drop off samples of colors and styles of texture and materials of carpet.
Great.
So
Nice.
we're trying to move it forward.
Cross that one off the list,
I'm
too.
getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay. The only problem is that we're going to put more on that list. So, you know, every list is going to keep growing. It just does.
I will deal.
Okay.
It's my little quirk.
It's the
It's
nature
my
of
quirk.
it. Okay. Thank you, Yvette.
Okay.
All right. Treasurer's report.
Okay. So, goodness, so I'm looking at the balance sheet for September. The beginning balance for fines was $10,166.25, and the ending balance is $9,978.31. Karen, are you okay?
I'm just, I know I printed it so that I could circle it, and now I've made such a mess of my notes that I can't find it, but there it is. Could you repeat that?
Sure. So the beginning balance for fines was $10,166.25,
Yep.
and the ending balance was $9,978.31.
9,000, yep.
Okay. And then special, beginning balance was $36,996.57. And the ending balance for the month was $35,286.12.
Perfect.
Got it?
Yep.
And then the only other thing I have is, I'd like to move, or I'd like to get your approval to move the $60 that was deposited into fines
Mhm.
and move it to special.
Sure. I'll make a motion that Janet move $60 from fines into special.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor? Thank you, Janet.
That's it.
Okay. Any questions about the treasurer's report? Okay. Acceptance of minutes. We only have one to accept, and that is from the last regular meeting, which was September 21st, I believe.
Yep.
I was not here, and neither was Mike, so Sohini.
I
and
neglected
Karen.
to put at the top of that it was a draft. So if you just make a note, whatever, I'll be getting you the corrected version, and then you won't have to worry about it.
The only thing I will say, and I wasn't at the meeting, but I did not actually meet with Ann Warner. We just talked on the phone. I don't know if that.
I can change it.
Okay, just spoke with it rather than met. It was
What-
under old business, August action items.
Yep.
All right, so 9:20.
Phone conversation.
Mhm. Thank you. Are there any other changes that should be made?
Yes, gotta find it. We were talking about print. Is this the one, or is it the one before? Yes, F on old business.
Yep.
Print costs $700,
Oh,
because then later on it says To renew, yeah, it was $6.99, so
Yeah.
that's the only thing.
I thought the price had changed, that I just
No.
assumed that. So, so what would, print, so how much is it a year?
$6.99,
Oh, so just take the correct the 800?
yes, please.
So the 699 was correct. Okay.
That's it.
Okay, any other changes? Okay, well, I will make a motion that the September 21st, 21 minutes be accepted with the noted changes. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
All in favor.
Okay, 3-0. Wait,
yeah,
are
you
you
can't
opposed?
vote.
Any opposed?
Oh.
Anybody abstaining? So I'm abstaining. Thank you. So 3-0-2 on that one. Okay. I should always say, are you
I forgot
opposed? You know,
about
he
that.
might have been. So,
Mm.
okay. Committee updates.
Oh,
Oh, go ahead.
the chiller, was that like an FYI to us? Are we, is there an action for us you want?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Yes.
Well, I think that
Uh,
in our discussion, weren't we like, we don't even know what it would cost to do this. So we were just gathering information about whether that was something we.
Yes, but what kind of information do you want in terms of, you know, when he and I talked, you know, the chiller should be replaced, and they can come in and do that. And, you know, the proposal that you were sent has, you know, this fitting, that fitting,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And then, you know, removal and disposal of the old chiller. And as he was talking, I said, you know, we have this CIP, and what about the rest of it? You know, what about the entire HVAC system? What does that look like? So, you know, this company would kind of act as, you know, the project manager of all of the other pieces, you know, to oversee if you want to replace the whole HVAC. So I think it's a question of, you know, how much work do you want to do in this building, beyond the chiller should be replaced? And what do you want to know for the scope of beyond just replacing the chiller?
We know that the chiller had issues
Yep.
as well. Your whole air conditioning system had issues. Does the heating part of the building have issues?
Yes, I mean, it's supposed to be an on-off system,
Right.
and right now it's
It's
much more
on.
complicated. Well, we turned it on,
Right.
and then we had the nice weather
Yeah.
last week in, you know, here it is October, and it was unbearable in the building, you know, over 80 degrees. So I asked Jared to turn the system back to cooling, and now we're air conditioned again, just because it's so fickle in October. But yes, it's more of a addressing the complications with the existing system, how it operates, and how it is just much more complicated than I think it needs to be. So,
Well, I think ultimately one of our roles is to be stewards of the building. And that means whether the library is here for 3 years or 30 years, I mean, somebody in town is going to use this building. So if something needs to be done, I think we have to look at seriously taking care of that, right? Because that's part of our role here. So the chiller, give it, like, it needs to be done. Like, it's
Yes.
okay. Janet, how do we pay for this?
I don't know.
Okay.
For this current fiscal year, we don't have anything set for a capital improvement project. We
Mhm.
don't have it. If it were to be done this year, it could be fines, special Yeah. From savings of both of them.
Okay.
If we held it to next year, we can put it in the CIP.
But
that would
next-
still be, I mean, we're still talking a year.
Right. And it needs to be done before that.
I didn't ask him
Okay.
about time, how urgent is this?
Mm-hmm.
I can go back to him. Because he knows that you're meeting tonight. He's wanted to get something
Yep.
together for
Yep.
you guys and is wondering what kind of questions you're gonna have.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in the proposal, it says that it doesn't include any of the extra upsizing of electric wiring or breakers and everything, so, like, there can be some other charges or some other ways of, like, getting, like, because it's an old building, they might have to change some stuff.
Maybe. I mean, we do have an existing chiller, so, Okay.
You see the second
So,
page?
yeah, I mean, upsizing
Upsizing,
would
yeah.
be, making more. Because he didn't, look at our breakers and the electrical systems. This was a quicker meeting than that to talk very big picture.
I have a question. So, right up at the top, it also talks about, like, budgeting.
Hmm?
And I guess I have two questions, and I don't know if it needs to go to the town. Are we allowed to do financing?
I don't know.
That's, exactly.
Hmm.
That'd be my first question, because if we did this in the relatively near future, and we can afford the $1,000 a month, but then pick up the rest at a CIP, I don't know if that's something we can do.
Mike, please.
Can we just put it on the ballot and see if we get lucky?
Honestly, I have no idea.
I don't know, but then, I mean, it has to be done. I don't know. Because if they vote, aren't there things that happen, like if they,
I think that's a good Paul question. That's
yeah, I think that.
much
wasn't
more
there-
complicated than
Yeah,
it
'cause
might
there was
seem.
like an issue, if I remember correctly, at a school board meeting
Yeah.
where it was something
Mm.
with the red building, and then people said no, and then it meant, they zeroed it out, and then nothing could be done, and,
Right.
so I wouldn't want to put ourselves in a position where we then can't do it,
Right.
because we've gotten that, especially when we know that it's something we have to do, so, and we do have resources available to us, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. If we've never done that, I mean, it's a good question. We can ask
I
Paul,
mean, I
but
just don't know. And then on top of that, there's the surplus at the end of the year
Mm-hmm.
that, again, if we can,
Sure,
finance it.
if we can do I don't even know if it's financing as much as a monthly payment plan.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yep.
It's a better way
So,
to say it. It's a monthly payment
maybe
plan.
we could, do some investigative work with Paul or with finance on that and
Yeah,
see.
Tom.
Tom, thank you, and see if, like, how we could work this in a way that would make
Yeah.
sense for us, and then come back and vote on it once we have a clearer picture of what our financial options are, and we can ask about ballot questions. We can just gather all our information, even just for, future knowledge, to know
Yeah.
what that looks like. So, sure. So who would like to be the person to reach out to Tom for that? Would you prefer to do that, Yvette, or would you be okay with one of us doing it?
You tell me.
Okay. Jen, do you feel comfortable talking to
Yeah,
Tom
I
about
can
that?
talk to Tom.
Okay, if that's okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were going to, what were the questions you were going to ask him? Can we do an installment plan?
Yes,
Can we access CIP money?
No, we can't access CIP money this year.
But like
So my questions to him are gonna be, can we take advantage of this, installment payment?
Yeah,
And then, if that's a yes, can we then, add a CIP next year to finish paying this? Yeah, that's probably the two biggest things.
So Janet, one of the other things that Joe, the salesperson, mentioned that I'm not familiar with at all is he said that municipalities have access to ARPA funds for these kind of replacements for HVAC.
Sure,
Um,
because
yeah.
that's
Because it's
COVID,
Yeah.
like
COVID. Yeah.
improved HVAC systems, yep.
So I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
not privy to what the municipality has in terms of ARPA funds because we were only dealing with
Mhm.
library funds through the state library. So that would be a question
Yeah.
also.
Mhm. Great. Okay. So why don't we put that, Janet is going to reach out to Tom to discuss possibilities for financing this project, and that we will discuss that further at our November meeting.
Now, this said, I thought I saw that this is good till November
November
14th.
14th. I'm sure if you were to call him and say, we're going to be voting on it in,
Okay.
a week or so after that, I think most vendors are accommodating in that instance. They just don't want this quote to go on for 6 months to a year, right, with
Yep.
the way things change, so.
Okay.
And if it changes, well, no, we need to do our due diligence and investigate this. We're not gonna make a decision just because of that, so. Okay, great.
Can they also give you information about the other part of the?
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna start it, let's see if we can get it all done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But at least we can pace it out or
E-
plan
exactly.
what it would look like to
Yep.
do this as a whole project,
Exactly.
right?
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay, committee updates. Building Exploratory Committee has not met. Friends of the Public Library met in September and will be meeting again on Monday. Let me see what I have from them. So, obviously no turkey shoot this year, no book sale. I think that was really all that was going on. There's been some discussion about membership and maybe some shifting of positions. I think there was some discussion about that and what different
I can hear
positions
you.
what different positions roles were and that sort of thing. So, but no, just
And they're doing
no
their
other
wreath
news.
Sale again.
What's that?
Aren't they doing their wreath?
The
sale?
wreath. Oh yes, the wreath auction. They are doing the wreath auction. Thank you. ahead.
So, yes, the Friends sent out an email to their membership saying that they were going to run the wreath auction again. It will work the same way as last year. Wreaths can be dropped off at the library starting November 3rd or 4th. And then will be on display and bidding will open. All of the details will they were in the email, but they're going to be posted on Facebook where we ran the auction last year. And then bidding happens only online. Highest bidder, when we close the auction, will win and get notified. Will need to pick up their wreath. If they don't pick it up by a certain day the next week, it's going to go to number 2. So I know some of the staff are already working on their wreaths. It's very exciting, so.
Great. Last year the trustees did one. Janet's sister made it for us, right?
Yeah.
So, is there any interest in a trustee wreath again this year to donate? I think that we would you and your sister be interested
Oh,
in
yeah.
making one? Okay.
I'll
Do
just
you remember
volunteer.
how much was it $75 last year or worth of materials?
I don't know.
Okay. Because we need to vote to approve that money to be made. I have some ideas for a wreath. Once you start looking, it's really interesting what people make wreaths out of.
Yeah,
Really
that's true.
interesting.
Are you going to make what?
Am I? Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. I have a
Huh?
couple ideas, so. Mhm.
All right. Michael, are you going to make one? Oh, come on, man.
Are you looking back to see how much it was?
Yeah. I hit the right button. I think 75 was more than
Okay.
it was.
Well, up to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay,
Up
so
to.
I'm going to make a motion that the trustees spend up to $75 for the creation of a wreath to be donated to the Friends auction.
I second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Great. Thank you to Janet and your sister for making another wreath
She doesn't
from
even know
us.
that's her sister, too.
That's what happens, you know?
I know.
Okay. All right. Development Fund has not met. Town Center Committee, anything on that?
Yes, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there is
Mm.
serious action
Soon
on
Woodbury
Woodbury
Road.
Street.
Yeah.
Serious action, and they're actually replacing the drainage and widening the road, especially near the bottom.
Mhm.
And we're gonna have sidewalks.
Wonderful.
And people will not have cars and kids moving in the middle of the street all
Mhm.
at the same time. So that came together very quickly after waiting and waiting. So that's good. And so Woodbury Street right now is what we are most involved with. There are several other projects. Some of which I've only gotten information about electronically and wasn't reported back on the date of the meeting. So I will include that in my next report. But Woodbury Street was the main point of discussion.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, Library Board of Trustee Committee updates. Have any committees met? Have anything they need to discuss? Okay. So one of the action items from last month was dates for budget stuff, but do we have any dates from the town yet about budget? Okay, so I guess we are not prepared to schedule any dates, but that's just going to happen. Once we get dates from Yvette for when budget things are due, we will.
We can still meet.
Do you have an,
Because
is that what we did last time? I can't remember.
Well, we had the proposed budget in front of us.
Well, the thing is, the only thing the town gives us is all the information that is like the sewer and the water, electricity, but the part that's library related, we can still go
Mhm.
through all that. So like materials, programs, other outside services, stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
we can
we
do.
would, I mean, I can start talking to the department heads and work off of the current budget, see
Mhm.
where there are changes, because we've been talking about changes
Sure.
already, so.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, do we want to schedule some dates? Okay. All right. When is this usually, when do you usually have to have it submitted?
December.
December. Okay, so we should pick a couple of dates in
that's fine.
November.
That was 2 phones.
Okay. So, if it has to be in December, we should pick a couple of possible dates in November. Did we meet on Veterans Day last year? I feel like we did. So,
again?
we met on Veterans Day last year. That's what I
Oh.
was trying to think. I knew it was a day off from school. Okay.
We met.
So our next trustee meeting is November 16th. Would we like to have a meeting before then? I think that we did in the past. We come up with something. We meet with, we met with Paul, but it would be with Tom to go over things on another date. So what about the week of Veterans Day? Is there an evening people could meet then, or do you want to do it before then, Janet?
Hold on. So last year, the budget was due like the 13th, Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So we had met twice, and we had one more day scheduled, but
Right.
I don't think we met on that day.
Right.
Right, but we had it on our calendars in
Right.
case we needed it, so.
All right, so shoot me those dates again.
Well, I was thinking if we met the week of the 8th, we could meet
Okay.
then, and then we could, that would still give us time to schedule a meeting with Tom after that to go over any questions we had for him. Where we sat in Yvette's office and we were able to project it up there, and then we could all see what needed to be done. And then we would still leave ourselves a little window if we had to make any changes after that. So if we did our part the week of the 8th, because then we have our normal meeting the 16th, then you're into Thanksgiving week, and no one's going to meet that week.
Well, why don't we meet the first week of November, and then do our second meeting on the week of the 8th?
With Tom? We don't know if he'll have what we need, though, right? If they'll have the information for us.
know.
You can ask him when you talk
Yeah,
with
when I talk to
him.
him, exactly. When is that coming out?
So is there a day of the week that works better for people the first week of November?
Wednesday.
Wednesday for me, too.
Yeah.
Wednesday would work? Does Wednesday work for you, Sohini?
7?
The 3rd?
Yeah,
At 7 o'clock? Is that what time?
Yeah.
Should we meet in Yvette's office? Is that okay with you, Yvette?
I'm not available Wednesdays.
Okay, she's not available Wednesdays. Go back to the drawing board.
I'm not available 2nd November, 4th November, 9th November.
Okay.
What about,
What about the 1st? Monday the 1st.
I can do the first.
in the evening, I can do the first.
Okay. Yvette, could you do the 1st?
Yeah, I haven't met with the department heads yet, so right now we have nothing to talk
Mhm.
to you about, so.
So why don't we put it off for
The 8th, or
the-
wait, you can't do the 10th. How about the 8th then?
the 8th?
Say.
Yeah.
Would that give you a little bit more of a
Yeah.
window? All right, why
Yeah.
don't we do Monday the 8th?
At
Nope.
what time?
7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. In Yvette's office? Is that okay with you, Yvette?
Yes.
Because we can use your screen and put it right up there, so. Which is great. Okay. And Janet, perhaps you could ask Tom when they think finance will have those numbers too, and if he would be amenable to meet with us sometime also.
Do we want him right away?
No, I think like after we've had a chance to kind of hash our stuff out, because sometimes we have questions that come up and,
Okay,
I think we should do our part first.
sounds good.
Okay.
So what did we say? We said 7 o'clock.
I think because we're getting a jump start on this and we do this, why don't we have this meeting, see when he might be able to meet with us? Because that was what we needed last time, was 2. We really can't decide when we're going to meet until we know when he's available. And then at that time, we can decide if we're going to have a third one. But we didn't have to last year, so we might be okay with just 2.
Didn't we already do a preliminary on the budget for like the CIP, what we got?
No.
I thought few weeks ago we got something where,
Yeah, that was the
The
CIP.
placeholder is the
That was the
CIP.
CIP, yeah.
It's just CIP.
Yeah.
Then that's for next year.
Mhm.
That's for the 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really just deciding, are we going to,
it was kind of next 5 years, kind of a plan.
right, but that's the town.
Town.
Yeah, it's just kind of letting them know the things that we foresee as coming our way.
Yeah.
But this will be the actual budget that the library spends going forward,
Right.
that we go to the taxpayers with on the ballot, so.
And that schedule is how the town manages all of the departments within the town to say, okay, the library needs this for this year, and fire needs whatever, and police need whatever.
So are we proposing the new library building also?
Oh, gosh, no, we have a long way to go. That-
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's going to be, we have to get the stakeholders, we have to have discussions with the town. We have to look at fundraising. Like, there's a lot of things we would have to do. This is not going to be like something that happens this year, no. Okay. All right, so we will meet on November 8th at 7 o'clock in Yvette's office. All right, No committees met. We have a budget date. Review of October action items. So, let's see. I have that I will report to the Friends and the Development Committee about our decision to further investigate the MYA site, that I'm going to coordinate with Janet on dates for strategic planning and give those to Yvette, that I will reach out to Jason at SMP. So I've put that on my own list to let him know what we're doing. I'll also reach out to Ann Warner to let her know we're moving forward with this. And Janet is going to investigate financing possibilities for the installment of a chiller with the town finance department. What else? Any other October October. Oh, action items. I almost said August, but no, it is October. Is that it?
The wreath.
Okay, Janet and her
Move
sister will
money.
make a wreath.
What?
Yvette is going to take care of the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So if there any other business, I'm going to read the upcoming events and then make a motion we go into non-public. So our upcoming events, the Friends of the Library will have their meeting this Monday, October 25th at 7 p.m. We also forgot to mention that the Friends will be sponsoring Trunk or Treat again at the library on October 31st. Yvette, do you have some things you can share about that event for anyone?
We will be holding a trunk or treat Sunday, the 31st, which is Halloween. I believe it's from 1 to 3. And right now, all of the information is on our Facebook page. And we're still looking for businesses or individuals in the community who would like to join us and be a trunk. And if the idea is to dress up and decorate your car or vehicle that you have. Bring candy to hand out. And in terms of costumes, nothing terribly scary or, this is not the horror side of Halloween. This is more the fun, child-friendly side of Halloween. So,
Great. Thank you. And if someone is interested, should they reach out to you?
they should reach out to Kathy
Okay.
in Children's.
Okay, great.
I have a
And-
question.
Yes.
Deb. You were saying that there were action items for next month that Yvette was going to.
Look into having the steps fixed. I think just deal with the steps.
Fixed. I just couldn't remember.
Mhm.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, then I would like to make a motion that we go into non-public session under RSA 91A32C.
I second.
Thank you. We need to do a roll call vote to go into non-public, so I'm going to vote in favor. Sohini,
In favor?
Janet,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and Karen.
Yes.
Okay, we are now in non-public at 8:27.